Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway, and you're tuned in to WowPodcast. Today we're going to talk to author Lou Hoffman. We're going to talk about her new book, Ciarrah's Light. Lou, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, Darshawn. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's talk about this book. This book is what, your first book or your third book?
This is the third book in my young adult series, The Sunchild Chronicles. I do also publish under a different pseudonym books for adults.
Okay. So give me your first two titles, and then we're going to lead into Ciarrah's Light.
Okay. The title of the first book is Key of Belosteth, and the title of the second book is Wraith Queen's Veil.
So tell me a little bit about Ciarrah's Light. What is the book about as a whole?
This book takes the protagonist into a very dark time when he is being tortured in a kind of dream world, although it's not a normal sleep. And the person who is actually doing that happens to be his mother, who is dead. And the first part of the book basically is people realizing what the problem is and trying to rescue him from that situation. And in the second part of the book, he actually is confronted with a situation in battle and has to confront his mother, who is undead at that time.
So what about young adult fiction attracts you to write in that particular genre?
Well, for one thing, I still like to read it, so I really think that it's for all ages. And I do have important adult characters in my YA books. And they have a growth arc of their own, just like the protagonist does. But I think reading is so important, and I think that books for young people can really bring young people to understand their world better, to open up to the world. So, I enjoy doing that. But I'm going to be honest that the real reason I write it is because the stories are there in my head. The characters want their story told, and, so there I am.
Gotcha. So tell us about the central characters of this book.
Okay, the central characters, this is a really complex series. So there are a lot of characters that occur all the way through. The most important characters, there are three of them. The first is the protagonist, of course. His name is Lucky, he, at the beginning of Key of Belosteth, he's just turned 15. He has his 16th birthday in Ciarrah's Light. In the beginning of the story, he's gay, he's homeless, he's pretty self-sufficient, but he's taking care of himself and his dog, but he's kind of self-effacing. He doesn't believe in himself very much. He likes to stay invisible and out of the way. And he runs fast, and sometimes that's how he gets out of the way. But as the story proceeds, he has to grow into a destiny that he didn't know about as the story opens. And he's not really sure he wants to do that. In book one, he finds out he has a home world, which is called Ciarrah. He's in Earth when the story starts. And he has some other names, Lucan Elias Perdro, and he's supposed to become Ciarrah, which means sunchild in a fictional language called Ciarrah, which is a quasi-ruler. He's supposed to be a hero in the country that he's from, in Ciarrah, which is called the Sunland.
Gotcha.
The second most important character is Han Chies, or his full name is Han Rabel Chies, and he is the consummate warrior. He's a strategist and a tactician. He's the commander of the armies in the Sunlands. But he also fills a role called the wizard's left hand, which is basically he does the wizard Thurlock's bidding, and I'll tell you about Thurlock in just a second. But more importantly, really for this story, he's Lucky's uncle. He's the closest thing Lucky has to a very caring parent. He's kind, he's serious, he's funny, he's gay, he's a telepath. He's really good with animals, probably partly because he can talk with them. He's fairly troubled at times, actually. He has a lot of things he still needs to resolve in his life. But he's a hero. He's a true hero figure. And then there's Thurlock, and he is the premier wizard of the Ethrin Sunlands. That's his title. He's 1,000 years old plus. And counting, and very distantly related to Lucky, obviously distant. But he's, the person responsible for helping Lucky reach his destiny, and also basically for keeping the Sunlands on track, until he can pass that care on to other people. He's got a lot of power. Personal power, political power, and magical power. He can veto a lot of bureaucratic stuff, which he does. Right. But he's also kind of an absent-minded kind of guy. He rambles. He's always curious about everything. He likes sweets, and he's perfectly willing to break the rules to get them. And he's not, his energy, despite his power, his energy isn't endless. He, especially using magic, that can drain him to the point that he becomes just the shell of a very old man, for a while. So, yeah, and he, also is not a parent figure for Lucky, but he's somebody that Lucky really relies on and comes to love over the time. That he knows him. Yeah. What
would you like people to know about why you chose to write a teen series with a gay protagonist?
I really want people of all ages to understand that a gay teen isn't a special case. A gay person of any age is simply a person. They have their talents, they have their failings, their likes and dislikes, and some surprising qualities, just like everybody else. Any person whose gender or sexual orientation is not, cisgender and heterosexual, they might be very ordinary people, good neighbors, whatever, or they might be extraordinary. And no one should be discounted or marginalized because of their sexual orientation or gender orientation. And, in addition to that, he was just a character that spoke to me when this story came to my mind. So, yeah.
Okay. So when you're not writing, what do you do in your off time?
Well, I have a couple of grandsons that I'm raising. I read. Of course, I read. I like to garden. I don't get a chance to do that as much as I would like. Right now, I have 3 cats, and right now I also have a dog. I don't know how that's going to go. I like to walk. I like doing graphic art, things like creating graphics on the computer. I also like drawing, but I never do that anymore. I like being with my family. I like being with friends. Yeah.
They kind of, your family brings you down to earth, don't they?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So tell me, where can people find you and your books?
Okay. Well, let's see. queerlya.rainbowgate.com. That's QUEERLYYA, rainbow-gate.com. I'm on Facebook as Lou Hoffman Books, and I'm on Twitter as Lou_Hoffman. And Hoffman has 2 N's and 2 F's. Or I should say 2 F's and 2 N's. So, yeah. And let's see. And then my books, you can go to Harmony Inc. Press, which is the publisher who publishes them, and just search for the title. That's probably the easiest way for me to tell you that. But if you prefer getting your books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever, you can look for them there as well. Of course, that'd be numerous links, and I'm not going to tell you all of them. I do have a universal link for Ciarrah's Light. That's something I just started doing. And that will take you to all the major retailers, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, etc. And it's the HTTPS /www.books2read, that's books, the number 2, read.com/Ciarrah's Light, Ciarrah's -light by Lou Hoffman. So, and Ciarrah's does not have an apostrophe in it, and because URLs don't use apostrophes.
Gotcha. Well, I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. You're tuned in to WowPodcast. We're talking to author Lou Hoffman, and we're talking about their book from the Sunchild Chronicles, Ciarrah's Light. Lou Hoffman, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Darshawn. I really enjoyed the interview.